The year is 2263. Mankind is facing its oldest threat, evil, the purest form of evil. It has returned after 5,000 years to destroy the earth, and the only thing standing in its way is a reincarnated supreme being whose destiny is to stop evil. This powerful being is a woman, as human as those she is destined to save, and if she, a priest, and the cab driver who has become her protector don't find a way to complete the ritual and stop evil, all will be lost. Join us as we dissect the 1997 sci-fi cult classic, The Fifth Element. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Austin Johnson.
And this is Filmgazm. Happy Wednesday, listeners. Welcome to episode 113 of the Filmgazm podcast. It's been a while since we've had Austin in the second chair. I did The Fly with Josh, then I did The Gift with Julie. Now it's time for a good old-fashioned Filmgazm. Good to have you here.
Yeah, hey, it's been since Dr. No?
Yeah, I think so.
How about that? Yeah, it feels like it's been a minute. Too long. been doing our thing over on Oscar Sunday, and we got more stuff coming. I think later in the show we'll be giving a lot of cool news, and I can't wait, man.
Oh, yeah. Big old announcement at the end. Very excited. Something we've been working on for a long time now. Before we get started, I finally do have some updates on the Rewind. 3 of them. Yeah. It's been like nothing happening. Finally, a little something. I've got one that updates our 7th episode on Suspiria, which I can't wait to redo someday. That's probably our worst episode, and that's my fault. Another one that updates episode 20 on the Godfather trilogy. And one more on episode 98, The Toxic Avenger.
Okay. All right. We got a wide array of films here.
Yes, indeed. First up, and this is unfortunate, actress and screenwriter Daria Nicolodi has died at 70 years old. Nicolodi was the co-writer of Suspiria, was Dario Argento's long-term partner. They worked together on a number of films, including Deep Red, Inferno, Tenebrae, Phenomena, Opera, and of course, Suspiria. She will be missed. Yeah, her influence on Suspiria, I think, really helped it become a very vibrant, wild witch movie. Like a movie I cannot wait to revisit with our, current lens.
Oh my gosh, yes. Gonna be fantastic. That's the best thing about this experience is revisiting it and having an excuse to talk about it.
Yeah. 19 minutes on the original and the remake. I will never forgive myself.
Yeah. Hey man, I remember those episodes because I was listening to all of them, of course, and knew I was going to be jumping on, and then eventually came on permanently. I think you did a great job being a one-man show for those first, what was it, first 20 or so? I don't remember.
I think I did about 16 on my own.
Yeah.
The last one I did on my own was The Hitcher.
Yeah, that sounds right. Because I remember vividly, we were influenced by, Us and Midsommar, some horror films of 2019. And we were like, oh, we should just bang, talk about Hereditary, talk about Get Out, and, talk about both. And then we just felt like we should do this partnership permanently. And I'm glad we were here on episode 113. Holy shit.
I know, right? Damn. A lot of work into those 113 episodes. Most of them anyway.
Gonna keep throwing shade at your solo pods.
They're just so weak compared to what we would do later. It's like I just look at our Shining comparisons and our Saw comparisons, and we did such a fucking better job as a team.
Well, Saw, you go from 1 person to 3.
Yes.
So completely different. Shout out to Josh, who will be appearing more often, and like you said, was on The Fly 1958. That was a blast to listen to. And it was bizarre. It was like, I'm not going to be here for 2 weeks on these episodes, but I listen to them all the time because I enjoy our product.
Yeah, nothing wrong with enjoying your own stuff. Next up, Legendary Entertainment is developing a Toxic Avenger reboot with Troma founders Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz producing.
Okay.
Game of Thrones alum Peter Dinklage has just been cast in this reboot.
Whoa. Hey, shout out again to Josh. That's one of his favorite movies of all time. So we also did that episode, all 3 of us. Yeah. I have very mixed feelings about it.
As do I.
You enjoyed it a little more than I did, but yeah, a little too wacky for me, I think.
You know what that movie is? I feel comfortable saying this just to you. It feels like a porno without the sex.
Yeah, it gives you that dirty feeling. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
I'm sorry, Josh. Director Macon Blair is going to be doing this one, the reboot.
Okay.
And he's the director of 2017's I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Did you see that?
Yeah, on Netflix, yeah, I did see that.
How was it?
Not bad. It's not bad.
And he also starred.
It doesn't scream, oh, give me another film by this person, but it's pretty good.
Well, I didn't realize like how he was actually a pretty good actor. He was the main dude in Blue Ruin.
Yeah.
Which was such a cool movie.
That's also I learned that like hours ago on IMDb. I was like, oh shit, just kind of piecing things together. IMDb is probably my most used app on my phone because I just get lost on there.
Yeah, and frankly, we couldn't do this podcast without IMDb. We need that.
It's amazing the way they have everything organized. I don't think people realize how awesome the app is. Definitely download that shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. So we're at some point in the near future, we're getting a Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage and Macon Blair. And you know what? I'll see it.
Yeah. Also, another great way to bring up IMDb is that when you look at Peter Dinklage's, his run, you're going to see that. That's fantastic.
I wonder who he's playing. Like, is he going to play the nerd, or is he going to play like a bully or a new character? Who knows?
Yeah, maybe a new character.
Maybe he's the voice of Toxie.
Oh, that would be clever.
Cool. That's going to be so weird because I know one day we're going to talk about that movie. And
of course.
Next up, the trailer has dropped for Francis Ford Coppola's re-edit of The Godfather 3. Currently titled The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. According to sources, Coppola has changed the beginning and end of the film, toyed with some music cues, and shuffled some scenes around to turn the disappointing third Godfather movie into something new. Oscar winner and Godfather star Diane Keaton said, quote, "It was one of the best moments of my life to watch it. To me, it was a dream come true. I saw the movie in a completely different light. When I saw it way back, it was like, oh, I don't know. Didn't seem to do that well, and the reviews weren't great. But Francis restructured the beginning and the end, and man, I'm telling you, it worked." Diane Keaton's own mouth. Interesting.
Yeah. I of course am very excited to watch it anyway. But then you hear that, and I'm pretty amped. I can't wait to talk about that on Filmgazm in some manner.
The re-edited Godfather 3 will be available on demand and Blu-ray on December 8th, and maybe we'll take a look. I'm intrigued. Like,
yeah, me too.
I don't see how it could be worse.
So, well, exactly. You can only go up from there, right? It's just not good. And I'm willing to give a guy, a director, a creator like Francis Ford Coppola a chance. Come on,
Yeah, but again, he is the guy who did do The Godfather 3 in the first place.
For sure. But he also gave us the first two, and I'm okay. I normally would be like, oh man, like not everybody gets the opportunity to just redo everything in their own film, and it's because of his name, it's because of who he is. But that goddamn right, because he did those first two films.
True, but I look at his track record, and I think 70s Coppola and 90s Coppola are two very different filmmakers.
Way different, yeah. Obviously, the 70s he has an argument as being the best in the 70s, and then yikes.
I mean, as long as I don't see how they could do this without like cutting Sofia Coppola's performance entirely, because she really brings that movie down to a special bad place.
Yeah, she is. She's not very good. Not a very good actress in that film. Good director though.
Yeah, yes indeed. I just watched On the Rocks. Pretty good.
Solid stuff. Rashida Jones is a wonderful actress. I think she's underrated.
Yeah, big time. Godfather 3 recut. I'm very interested to see like what makes it better. What was the problem? I'm excited. Like, was it just reordered? Like, was it ordered wrong? Or I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'm curious. And now we've talked about it this much, we're definitely going to be revisiting it and talking about it on this show somehow.
We'll figure something out. So, had you seen The Fifth Element before?
Yes. The Fifth Element is one of the, more memorable journeys I've had with a film because it was on TNT nonstop. It still is on, will be on TNT or TBS or whatever. And I remember seeing it on, and Chris Tucker, just kind of takes your breath away. What is this guy doing? At a young age, I'd see it on TV but never had seen the film all the way together till probably middle school, 7th or 8th grade, when I finally sat down and watched the entire film. And I actually, this is something that's really interesting, is the, Friday and Fifth Element connection. Chris Tucker, I actually watched those two movies for the first time ever on the same day. And you also have Debo as the president. So yeah, fun little connection between Friday and the Fifth Element. And I fondly remember that it was 7th or 8th grade when I first sat down and watched both of those movies. And I'll never forget it. And I still really enjoy the Fifth Element. As I've gotten older and have a deep appreciation for atmosphere and set design, production design, costume, all these things, the intangibles of a film, it kind of takes your breath away, man. This movie, just when you first go to Brooklyn with Bruce Willis, man, just like his setup, the cigarettes, everything is so interesting, and I'm still very much blown away the same way I was when I first saw it.
Yeah, it's cool. You notice little things about it every time you watch it. I mean, I've been, watching this movie since I was very young, like 7, 8 years old. This was the first DVD my family ever bought. And
incredible.
Yeah, we still have that copy. And yeah, it's just a wild ride. It's such an original story. And you don't see that a lot anymore. Like, grand scale original stories that are good.
Oh yeah, spending a bunch of money and dealing with space. Yeah, you're right, man. Doing that epic scale.
Yeah,
it's rare.
If it's not Star Wars, Star Trek, or a comic book, people don't care anymore. And the filmmakers who do try to do something original, it's so hackneyed most of the time. You end up with like a Jupiter Ascending or some shit like that. But Luc Besson knew what he was doing. The Fifth Element, you can feel the love and care he put into this. Like you can tell he really, really wanted to make this good. And so the cast he assembled, the cool world he created, almost like an optimistic Blade Runner.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
it's neat. You can feel a mixture of so many cultures that we've to create just the human race. It's a very creative movie, and it is fun. It is fun to watch. It's fun to introduce to people, and yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, big time, man. And the cast, a big reason why we wanted to do this film was because of Gary Oldman, right?
Yeah.
And how wild and audacious his performance is in this film. He has something coming out on Friday.
Yes.
Something big. Directed by David Fincher. Mank is coming out on Netflix, and we cannot wait. In a year where we can't even go to the theater, in how we know it to be,
Yeah.
We can't. It's not very normal, and some movies are being pulled and this and that, or VOD, and so to get a David Fincher film handed to us is gonna be really cool. And of course, Gary Oldman is the star of that, and that's we want to choose a wacky Filmgazm kind of movie.
Yeah,
and that's the Fifth Element, man. It's a Filmgazm kind of movie.
Yeah, I mean, we do horror primarily. I mean, to celebrate Gary Oldman, we could have done Dracula. We could have done so many things, but we picked the Fifth Element because it's not the one that people immediately think of when they think Gary Oldman. It's a very weird performance, and it's a very strange character. It's a performance that Oldman himself does not really like that much. But I love Gary Oldman in this movie. This movie, I think, more than anything else he's ever done in his career, really shows his dedication to transforming. His voice is so different than anything else he's ever done. He looks so weird, freaking like plastic cap and the comb over. It's just, it makes no sense, but there's some menace in this guy that you just believe. And Oldman can do that with anything. With the weakest script, that guy can turn a character into a memorable figure. And I love that about him.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He's pretty beloved here. He's been brought up a few times here and there, and you and I just feel the exact same way, that he kind of knocks it out of the park no matter what he's working with.
Yeah.
Whether it be this wacky one or his, Oscar winning performance in Darkest Hour, he's lights out. I love him so much, and we're gonna have some fun talking about him throughout the entire show.
Yeah, throughout the week, really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Mank Mank's gonna be a big part of the Oscar Sunday show. We're gonna talk a bit about that, and Citizen Kane and Pride of the Yankees, and stay in Mank's world for a little bit. So Gary Oldman's a part of that once that movie comes out.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. So massive spoiler alert for Sunday's Oscar Sunday.
Oh yeah, watch Mank.
Yes, watch Mank before you get into that. So The Fifth Element. It was director Luc Besson's longtime passion project. It was a world he would dream about as a kid just to escape boredom. He put pen to paper on a screenplay when he was 16, and the film wouldn't be made until he was 38. That's dedication to a project. Like, this was his, school time, scribbles that he turned into a multi-million-dollar movie.
God, unbelievable.
Amazing. For those of you who don't know, Luc Besson is a French filmmaker known primarily for 1994's Léon the Professional. That's his big one.
Yeah, which is just another wonderful Gary Oldman performance. Natalie Portman first taking the scene. So yeah, that's a special film.
Oh, hell yeah. Some of Besson's other directorial efforts include La Femme Nikita, The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc, Arthur and the Invisibles, Lucy, and Anna. He tends to center his films around strong female characters, which is odd considering he was accused of rape by a Belgian actress in 2019, though charges were never filed. I don't know if, I don't know much more details beyond that. I just know he was accused, but there was no case that came out of it. So it might have been a false accusation, or it might have been hush money. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have clarification on that one.
I do know that he's basically making the same movie for 6 years. Like, strong female assassin, misogynistic, usually Asian bad guy.
Yeah.
And, yeah, like Lucy, I did not like.
Nah, not for me.
And Anna, I didn't see because I didn't like Lucy. So, yeah. But, Leon and The Fifth Element are awesome.
Yeah, those are the two that stand out. I've been scrolling through all of his stuff, and there's really nothing else that stands out. He's written a ton of the films that he's directed as well. I don't know, man. I don't even know what my third favorite would be. He wrote The Transporter. That's a fun movie.
It's all right.
It's not good, but it's fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's where we're reaching. Yeah, but he's got those two from the 90s. And what's interesting is, 1994. There, obviously, that's the year Pulp Fiction came out, and I see a lot of Butch, Bruce Willis's character, in Fifth Element, and connection of 94 to 97.
Oh yeah, straight up. Now let's talk about him. Action superstar Bruce Willis stars as valiant soldier turned taxi driver Corbin Dallas. Willis was reluctant to take such a risky movie after the box office bombs Hudson Hawk and Billy Bathgate encouraged him to play it safe. And if you don't know at least some of Bruce Willis's work, you really need to stop listening to a movie podcast and do your homework. Die Hard, Pulp Fiction, 12 Monkeys, Death Becomes Her, Armageddon, The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Sin City, Lucky Number 11, Looper, and a lot of really shitty direct-to-video movies from the last 10 years. That's Bruce Willis.
Yeah, man. He's the man, I fondly remember all those films you named at first, Die Hard and Pulp Fiction, and those films. I'll never forget the first time I saw all of those. And you lay eyes upon Bruce Willis, the fucking beast of the 90s, and he's insane. He's one of the guys that I think of when I think of the 90s in film is I think Bruce Willis had an incredible run. It ends with, The Sixth Sense, awesome film. That could come up on either one of our shows, and he's awesome, dude. He really is not afraid to choose any kind of genre. Go out there, fucking go for it. Be wacky, be weird, and like you said, do all the direct-to-video movies. Like, you gotta love Bruce. He's clearly addicted to working.
Yeah, big time. And he has proven that he does have some acting chops when he gets a good project. It's just really rare these days for him to get a good project.
I'm trying to think. There's been a few from the past, like you said, the past 10 years, like cop movies. Wasn't there one with Kevin Hart, maybe, or am I don't know. I don't even know what I'm thinking anymore.
There was the one he did with Tracy Morgan, Cop Out.
Cop Out.
There was that. I think he was in Red Kingdom.
Red, yeah, he's great in that. Red Dawn.
Just Red.
Just Red. Yeah, I get really confused with all those. And Reds from 1981. Yeah, god damn it. What else? Bunch of those. I feel like there's more cop movies. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, they're all the same movie. I mean, he did appear in the in Sylvester Stallone's Expendables series.
There you go.
Alongside, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jason Statham and Dolph
Bunch
Lundgren.
of action. Yeah.
And, it is cool to see in Expendables 2, Arnold and Bruce kind of switch their catchphrases. That was kind of neat.
I don't remember watching those because I just saw them on TV one time. I didn't go see those in theaters.
I was very excited for Expendables 2 because Jean-Claude Van Damme was the bad guy.
That's wonderful.
That was sweet. And there's a scene where Bruce and Arnold are in a bank or an airport or some shit, and they're shooting. And Arnold says, I'll be back. And then Bruce Willis says, you've been back enough. I'll be back. And runs to the other side. And Arnold just mutters under his breath, yippee-ki-yay. It was stupid, but it was cool.
That's fantastic.
Those movies are so fucking dumb, but I love them. Yeah, Bruce Willis. Yeah, he's the man. He'll always be the man. And I just hope, he gets some worthwhile shit. I don't think he cares anymore, but we do.
Yeah, you got 10 Minutes Gone, Airstrike, Reprisal, Death Wish, First Kill, Once Upon a Time in Venice. I mean, good Lord. That's all in like a 2-year span.
What are any of those movies? I've heard of none of those movies.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I know there's more cop movies, and there you go.
He's either a cop or a soldier, like every time.
Yeah. Or yeah, and like ex-soldier gotta get back in the game, and yeah, that's definitely a trope that's used. I'll always Butch is where my heart lies when it comes to Bruce Willis. That's obviously we're huge Pulp Fiction fans, huge Quentin Tarantino fans, and for me, that's my favorite role of his of all time.
As much as I love Butch and as much as I love John McClane, I have a soft spot for Dr. Ernest Menville from Death Becomes Her.
Hey, I love it. Is there a particular reason why you feel a connection to that one?
Well, that was a big favorite of mine when I was a kid. I was obsessed with Robert Zemeckis from like the day I was born. And
I figure that's yeah.
Bruce Willis is so against type in that movie. Like, he's usually playing the tough badass, but in Death Becomes Her, he is such a like emasculated, just sad man who is like trying to regain any bit of like masculinity he's got left to leave his crazy bitch wife. And he just gets sucked into this weird ass immortality love triangle. And it's the weirdest role he's ever played, but I fucking love him in it.
It's fantastic. I love it. I got to rewatch that.
It's a great one. I've almost had that scheduled on the podcast like 3 or 4 times, but kept changing my mind. But I bet 2021 is the year where we are going to do Death Becomes Her, because that's just such a great movie.
Hell yeah. Well, coming up in this upcoming March, Bruce Willis will be turning 66.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's still young in action movie years.
Oh yeah, he's still got more cop movies in the tank. Come on.
Oscar winner Gary Oldman took the role of the evil Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg. As a favor to Luc Besson, who was a good friend, Besson had partly financed Oldman's 1997 passion project, Nil by Mouth. So Oldman took the role without reading a script. And that's just, never do that. I don't care how friendly you are with somebody, how big of a fan you are, always read a script.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. I wouldn't ever be able to do that. That's for sure.
As it stands, Oldman, quote, can't bear his performance. He really just did this for the, to help out a friend. He does not like his performance as Zorg. And that's
so funny. Yeah, I love that because he's just such a terrific actor, and he's all hard on himself for this wacky performance from the late 90s.
Oldman won his Oscar for his performance in 2017's Darkest Hour, was nominated for his 2011 performance in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Woo.
He's one of the most respected character actors in Hollywood and a true chameleon, easily in my top 10 favorite actors of all time.
That's high praise. I haven't thought about that. I have made list of actors from this century, but it's very hard for me to gather, all time and compare these guys. Oldman is certainly someone I think about. So without, what are some of your very, very favorites of his?
Gary Oldman, favorites. As much as I don't really like the movie, I do think he does a really good job as Dracula.
Yeah. Yes.
I really like that. Of course, Sirius Black, Azkaban, unbelievable performance. Even Air Force One, as the Russian terrorist bad guy going up against Harrison Ford. I mean, that's just badass.
So, yeah, that's the thing. You can talk about any of them, and he brings something to the table. There's one that I know you will adore whenever you decide to watch it, is State of Grace.
Yeah,
he is fucking off his rocker in that one, and I think it's foreshadowing of what he's going to do throughout the 90s in True Romance and Leon the Professional and Fifth Element. Just this guy can fucking act. He's not afraid to be wacky.
One of my all-time favorites that I kind of found, it was a movie I wasn't expecting to really like that much, and I adored it. It was 1994's Immortal Beloved, where Oldman plays Ludwig von Beethoven. And
yeah, what more do you want?
I mean, that movie was panned. It kind of just fell off the radar, but his performance in that is unreal. It is such a great movie, such a great humanizing depiction of a man who was considered to be just a complete bastard. But you understand why. You have your heart broken that hard. It's hard to love anything. But it was such a great performance and really underrated. And I can't move past this without talking about Drexel Spivey.
Well, yeah. I mean, to get a guy like Oldman lined up with a writer like Tarantino, game over.
Oh, unreal. And then another favorite that just popped into my head because it's such a creepy role is Mason Verger in Hannibal, which is very much a makeup performance, but his vocal, his delivery is eerie as this escaped pedophile who is after Hannibal Lecter. He's the more evil in the movie. It's weird, but yeah, we'll talk more about Oldman as the show progresses.
Yeah, and we'll certainly do an Oscar Sunday show around him one day. Darkest Hour and Tinker Tailor. Oh, just Tinker Tailor is a fucking phenomenal movie, and that'll be highlighted on Oscar Sunday one day. Yeah, very, very much looking forward to that episode in the future.
Yeah, I can't believe I haven't watched that. I mean, being such an Oldman fan, to not have seen one of his Oscar-nominated performances.
And you are obsessed with British culture, so what are you doing?
I don't know. I do not know what has been stopping me. I own it too.
I love that.
I have nothing holding me back from watching this movie. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, that was nominated for 3 Oscars but didn't win any, and we'll certainly give you a reason to watch it.
Yes, indeed. Moving on, Mila Jovovich was cast as Lilu, the Fifth Element. Jovovich is known mostly for her role as Alice in the Resident Evil franchise, which she starred in from 2002 to 2016. Some of her other roles include Dazed and Confused, Zoolander, He Got Game, Ultraviolet, and the recent Hellboy reboot. She's set to star in Monster Hunter, set for release on Christmas, but I'd bet all the points on my future cab license that it will not be coming out on Christmas.
Yeah, that good call.
So what do you think of Mila's performance in this?
Oh, I like it a lot. I don't, know her career too well. I'm a huge Dazed and Confused fan. So Michelle and Pickford, they're like the ultimate, druggies, potheads, like couple in the film, and she's fantastic in it. And that was, like the first thing I saw her in. But I wish I had more to say, because I'm not, her claim to fame is a franchise I'm not really, a fan of or have seen everything of. So I don't know. Where do you stand with her?
I've seen the first Resident Evil movie, and that was like 12 years ago. I barely remember it.
Yeah.
I'd never been a fan of the game, so I didn't really want to see them. They're in the book, so one day we will do the Resident Evil movies, but I'm not really in any hurry to see them. And then the Hellboy remake, I heard was terrible, so I haven't seen that either. She's an actress who doesn't really get enough credit, I don't think. I think she's really good. I think she just chooses some weird scripts.
Yeah, for sure. And this happens, right? Like in the 90s, it's just there's so many things happening, and when you're picking and choosing like left and right, you're gonna sometimes get mixed up. And she certainly has her audience, her fans with the Resident Evil stuff, and I'll be excited when that does come up. But I'm the same way as you. I'm not in a hurry to get there on my own time, but I think it will provide good episodes.
I tend to only really care about video game movies if I played the game.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Ultraviolet?
I have not.
That is a weird, really terrible movie. I saw it at the movies when I was a kid. It was like a weekend, and my mom and dad wanted to go to the movies, so we went to see Ultraviolet, and we all walked away thinking like that was terrible. But Nick Chinlund is the bad guy, and I think he's one of the most underappreciated character actors. He plays such a slimeball so well.
That's such a great call. You have the character actors down. The guys that get neglected all the time, and that's a good call.
They're my favorites. The guys who can disappear. The guys you don't know their names because they're such great chameleons. They're the best. And
yeah,
Nick Chinlund plays one of the scariest characters of all time on the X-Files. He plays the serial killer / possible demon Donald Faster in season 2 and season 7. And he's in one of the episodes that got like kind of taken off TV because it was too hardcore. And that guy
fucking nuts.
That guy was fucking scary. He was a necrophiliac. And this was in like 93. Like this was, the X-Files really pushed the boundaries. Love that show.
Hell yeah, me too. I know him from Training Day.
Yeah.
That would be the one that I can remember who he is in. And Con Air, of course.
Yep.
It's hard to forget that cast,
He was like the only part of Tears of the Sun I actually really liked.
There you go, Tears of the Sun. Hey, Bruce Willis. Yeah. Hey, there you go. Chronicles of Riddick is the big one, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, that was terrible.
Well, yeah, I know he's prominent in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. God, we fell down a weird rabbit hole, didn't we?
Nick Chinlund. Hell yeah. Shout out.
Fuck yeah. Moving on. Oscar nominee Ian Holm plays Father Vito Cornelius, the priest who possesses the knowledge of how to save the world. And we talked a lot about Ian Holm back when we did the Alien episode, in which he played the android Ash. Great performance.
Incredible.
He was nominated for his performance in 1981's Chariots of Fire, also played Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit franchises. He unfortunately passed away earlier this year at 88 years old from Parkinson's disease. And he's one of my favorite parts of this movie. I love the way he plays Cornelius.
Ian Holm is extremely consistent in this movie. That's one of the things I noticed on this rewatch is how essential he is. because he has totally bought in, right, to what he believes in, this faith that he has in the fifth element. And if he doesn't sell that, the movie doesn't work, because it's right away. You need him to sell it right away. And it works. It works the whole way through. Ian Holm has been someone, because of this show, that I've kind of gained a whole new respect for. And I'm pretty grateful for that. We definitely will, we'll always miss him. Yeah. And we'll always highlight him when he's in these films that we talk about.
Yeah, he will always be Bilbo Baggins to me first.
Well, Lord of the Rings, those, we probably shouldn't go down that rabbit hole, because you and I are, we can get kind of freaky about it, and we like it a lot. And he's a big part of my favorite of the trilogies, The Fellowship. And he's a big part of why I love it so much, because that first hour or so, he is fucking on it.
We're probably going to be, in this bit, repeating a lot of what we said in Alien, because, I don't think I've seen anything new of his since then. But one of my favorite performances of his is from Time Bandits.
Okay.
Where he plays Napoleon Bonaparte.
There you go. Yeah.
That's such a funny, just a terrible depiction of Napoleon, one of the most epic military commanders of all time. And he's reduced to a 5 foot tall, man child who's I want to see little things kicking each other. It's so ridiculous.
Absurd. And how could we forget Ratatouille?
Yeah, Skinner.
Fucking Skinner. And another film that we brought up, I believe on episode 20 for Oscar Sunday, we talked about Back to the Future. We watched Brazil.
Yeah.
Fucking Ian Holmes in that too. So we will watch more of his career without fucking knowing it, because the guy's just everywhere. Within each decade, he's just there.
Well, Chariots of Fire, it's an Oscar, it's a Best Picture winner. So one day we'll be tackling that one.
Hell yeah, we will. Hell yeah.
I love his character in Brazil. It's so bizarre. You can tell he's under so much stress, and it just comes out randomly. He'll scream shit at Jonathan Pryce.
Yeah, they're a great pair. Those two are a wonderful pair. Well, and Lord of the Rings is prime pickings for Oscar Sunday. You can do whatever the fuck you want with those three.
Oh, we're saving that for sure. Comedian Chris Tucker plays talk show host Ruby Rod. For me, one of the most annoying movie characters of all time.
I
Tucker,
love that.
Yeah, good Lord. Tucker, of course, is famous for his role as Detective James Carter in the Rush Hour trilogy alongside Jackie Chan. Some of his other films include Jackie Brown, Friday, and Silver Linings Playbook. And he has not done much. I guess he really didn't need to. With that $15 million payout from Rush Hour 3, he did not need to do anything.
Yeah, no kidding. You have a run like that and you're set, I guess.
Yeah,
definitely love Chris Tucker throughout those movies you just named. Jackie Brown, Friday, Fifth Element, the Rush Hour. I just blown away by his ability to stay at that pitch all the time, at that energy all the time. Smokey is one of my friends. He's a movie character that I feel like is with me, and has been since middle school. I just love that character. Love what he's doing in Friday, a film that I can't wait to talk about one day on the podcast.
Friday. Yeah, he's great. He admittedly, the original first choice for Ruby Rod was Prince. That was who was Luc Besson modeled the character after Prince and Michael Jackson.
Clearly, yeah.
So, yeah. Chris Tucker, yeah. If that's the kind of thing you're trying to make, Chris Tucker did a great job. But he's just such an annoying, out of place, weirdo in this movie, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah, he takes it to a different level. I like what he brings, because if he's not there, I just think when he comes in hot at that point in the movie, the film is 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. I think he comes in and brings some juice to the film, and is so weird, and bizarre the way he's moving and every action he takes. It's beyond me. And the hair, good God, the hair.
Big tube. Like, what the fuck? I mentioned this in my review. The Fifth Element, I think what impresses me the most about it is it's made up of individual pieces that would absolutely bomb in its own thing. Like if it was a movie, just about like you got Chris Tucker as an annoying radio host in the future. You've got a cab driver, like you've got weird Gary Oldman in the alien like revolution he's financing. You got all these weird pieces that just work. It meshes together into this like weird tapestry of perfect 90s sci-fi action. Like I don't know why it works, but it does. It's really impressive.
Well said. Well said. That's what the Fifth Element is. It's one of those diamonds that just it worked. It worked. Stars aligned, and we have this movie that's 23 years old and still kicks.
Yeah. And I want to bring this one up just because I thought it was odd. Luke Perry gets fifth billing.
Yeah.
Despite only appearing briefly in the beginning of the film as Billy. And granted, this was 1997, and Luke Perry was hot shit. He was the star of Beverly Hills 90210 at the time, one of the biggest shows on TV. And getting him meant securing teen asses in movie seats. So even if you got him just for a bit, to have him on the poster meant, teenagers are going to go see this.
Well, yeah, and he's like you said, he's at the very beginning of the film. So, putting him in there, it's kind of, cheap because he's not in the rest of the film, but
incredibly cheap.
Hey, you do what you got to do,
When I was a kid, I didn't know who the hell Luke Perry was, and I assumed the ranking order of a film's cast, like, went to the most important characters. So I thought David was Luke Perry. For a long time.
You're like, wait a minute, why is that guy so high up on the list? Yeah.
Yeah, Perry's last film role would be as actor Wayne Maunder in 2019's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood before his untimely death from a stroke at 52 years old. And that came out of fucking nowhere. I remember that last year, just Luke Perry had a stroke. Wild.
Nuts, yeah. And then we were, able to talk about that, I believe, when we did our bonus on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Talked a bit about that. Sucks balls, man.
Yeah, it does happen. It's fucking weird when that happens, and I don't like losing notable actors. It's a damn shame. The Fifth Element has an IMDb score of 7.7, Rotten Tomatoes score of 70%, grossed $263 million on a budget of $40 million, and it was nominated for one Oscar for Best Sound Editing. Is regarded these days as a celebrated cult sci-fi action adventure, and that's pretty cool. It stands out. I mean, this came out, same year as Men in Black, 2 years before The Matrix. Like this was a, prime time sci-fi, heyday. And then this movie stands out amongst all of that. I love that.
Oh, so cool. 1997 is an awesome year. And definitely, as you get to 97, 98, 99, you see a lot of these kinds of films. The era is coming to an end, and the 2000s are going to bring the superhero to the forefront.
Yeah.
And these kind of wacky, sci-fi, weird alien, opera singing aliens, Chris Tucker dancing around like Prince, shit doesn't happen anymore. Certainly not going to make nearly $300 million at the theater, I don't think, unless it's like Guardians of the Galaxy attached to Marvel. That's just the way it is. And I just love that we did have a time like the late 90s where stuff like this was acceptable.
Yeah. I mean,
and people wanted to go see it in theaters, whether it be Luke Perry or not.
It is interesting. Like you couldn't, a movie like The Matrix, if that came out today, I don't think it would be nearly as successful. The first movie, like the fourth movie coming out in a couple of years is going to be a hit because of the franchise. But
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was weird when it came out and it was such a hit. But these days people need more than weird. They need assurances. They need to know like I'm in safe hands. And to them, Marvel and DC and Warner Brothers and Harry Potter and all the and Pixar. Those are safe hands. So that's what makes money.
Yeah. And understandable, but what we like to do is find those random things that were popular maybe at one point in the past and have become cult classics, and that's what we got here. And it's an honor to talk about films like this, because there's fans that are diehard Fifth Element fans, and that were our age during the late 90s and seeing these kinds of movies. And I wish I could say the same.
Well, you mentioned, fans. I mean, this movie has a very devoted fan base. I saw, this guy who 3D printed his own ZF-1 that works. It's got buttons and it turns into the thing. That's fucking awesome.
Incredible. Yeah, I've seen, all kinds of stuff. They sell all kinds of things that are from this film, and it's got merchandise out the wazoo, It's crazy. I love when a film that weird, and that it knows what it is, it knows what it's doing, but it's so bizarre throughout. I love when that kind of latches on to pop culture.
Hell yeah. So let's dig into this movie. I have some talking points. I thought stuff we could bring up. So we open in 1914.
Yes.
In Egypt, where a professor finds a hieroglyphic detailing this ritual that's supposed to stop evil. And it's so cool to have the idea of we've been protecting ourselves for God knows how long against this, primordial darkness. And it's a kind of a protector job passed on from priest to priest for thousands of years. That's a cool idea. And it's already, it's intriguing from the beginning. Just who are these weird aliens who come to grab this statue and these stones, and they said we're gonna be back. It's cool.
Oh man, so at first you're like, okay, is this Indiana Jones? And then you have these giant robots come up and you're like, oh, okay, am I watching a Philip K. Dick novel just unfold? And then they just walk up and there's just a little key, puts it in, and I rewatching it, I was kind of blown away at how attached I was to the screen still at age 25. And I don't think it's going to change, man. I think I'm going to get well into my 40s and 50s and still be like, man, this movie's just fun as shit.
Yeah. There's certain movies that, never lose that spark. And those are the best movies.
Yeah. And it's a lot to do with this opening, got to give it a lot of credit for the tone that it sets of being really serious, but also this is going to be weird. Buckle up. You got these wide shouldered, robots just coming in and speaking English and these really deep, monotone voices, and I'm in.
Hell yeah. And then from there we just flash forward 300 years in the future, where some intergalactic command ship has found this giant pulsating ball of pure evil. And I love that bit where the guy who Steddert, who's determined to destroy this thing, he's ignoring orders from the president because he's like, something about this, this has to go. And just as it gets closer to the ship, the music pulsing and the blood coming down his forehead, it's so cool. It really sets the tone for what is this?
Oh yeah, just the this big evil ball. What are we doing? Yeah.
I love in movies depictions of evil at its core. What does evil mean to certain filmmakers? And Luc Besson's personification of darkness is just fucking creepy.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. And Steddert, the guy who plays him, he was a prominent character in the X-Files. Not to bring that back up, but he played one of the cabal of shadow government agents who's controlling this whole alien conspiracy. But he was having a change of heart and he started leaking stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, don't be afraid to share your X-Files knowledge. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah, cool. And I read somewhere that the blood pouring down their heads isn't blood. Luc Besson intended that, and it happens to Zorg later in the movie. That is supposed to represent the evil inside of them forcing its way out of their bodies. This thing is so powerful that when you are close to it or when you speak to it, it causes evil to drip out of you come alive and leave your body. Like it's trying to get back to the source. Like how fucked up is that?
I love that. That's great. That makes that close up so much better.
Grisly. And then from there we meet Bruce Willis, who has a nightmare. And
yeah,
it's great. I love little details. Like Luc Besson really hammered home the, intricacies of this future. Like the fact that the cigarettes are like all filter.
Yes.
Like I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, he's got you can quit stuff everywhere in his little apartment there.
For a day. Like just weird little things like that. The fact that like all the writing on like in the universe is like in English, but also in like some other language. Like I think it's some kind of Asian language. It's little stuff like that show that we've moved past national boundaries and are just Earth. And
yes,
that's cool. I like when we do that. It'll never fucking happen in real life, but I do love when it does happen in movies.
Yeah, like, New World Order, all that jazz. Yeah.
I am all for a New World Order.
Yeah, just like one currency. Would you be down for that or no?
I say knock down every. This is probably going to make me look like a fucking communist, but I don't care. Knock down every national border, have one currency, and just let us be human. Just let us be one race of people. That's what it should be.
There's the fifth element,
Yeah. Yeah, I am a globalist. Fuck all y'all who say otherwise.
Zorg.
I love the bit with Bruce Willis and this dude Finger that he's talking to on his phone, who's Vin Diesel, by the way.
So good.
Fucking wild. It sets up Bruce Willis like Corbin Dallas to be kind of a shady motherfucker. Like you don't know what he's up to, you just know he's into some weird shit.
Yeah, I get the hint that he's, gambles a lot and just puts his shit on the line, obviously he's like willing to lose his job like right away. And he's like, what am I doing? Questioning it and just does it anyway. He clearly acts off impulse.
He's Butch in space.
Oh yeah. He is 100% Butch in space. Yeah. Just like, whoa. Yeah, this guy's probably not up to the greatest thing, but I want to watch.
But he's our hero. And I love that little bit when he almost gets mugged by the guy wearing the hat that looks like his hallway. That was so weird, but hilarious.
Oh, man. What a touch.
This always bugged me. When we meet Zorg, he's this, weirdly Southern, like bizarre gentleman who is in league with pure darkness. But why? Like, what does Zorg have to gain from Earth's destruction? I mean, his whole company is on Earth. He is on Earth. Like, if Earth dies, he loses everything. Like, I don't know. I never really understood like why Zorg is helping darkness.
Oh, I'm not sure either. I definitely one of the things I will nitpick about the Fifth Element is some of the plot and some of the stuff that I am unable to follow and just kind of like that's not really why I watch it. It's frustrating, but it's like I know what this is. It's like a hard 8 for me.
Yeah,
and I enjoy the ride, but definitely that aspect of his character. Is he just a like woe is me, like I don't even know what I'm doing villain? I don't know. I guess that's the route they were going because that makes zero sense.
I don't know about that because he does seem like very confident in
and he's smart. Doing. Yeah.
I don't know. That's tough.
Maybe that's one of the issues Gary has with the performance.
he did accept the role before he read the script.
Yeah.
I thought the way they rebuilt a human being from like a few living cells, I thought that was a cool idea. And Can you imagine if we had that kind of technology? I mean, that's immortality. That's
Oh yeah.
that's what that is. I mean, you die, they get you in that machine long enough, quick enough, they can like, de-age you, they can bring you back. Like the implications of that is incredible.
Yeah, it's very scary in the wrong hands. Yeah, I mean, who knows? And that whole bit, I can't remember what's his name. You brought him up. I believe you brought him up earlier. I can't wait to meet him. So good. I love that scene when the lights are really dark and you can see the green in the eyes like you're at fucking Laser Quest. That's so cool.
I thought it was very strange that there's 2 scenes with blatant nudity in this movie, but it still has a PG-13.
Yeah, I thought it was R like all the time, and I've seen the version on TNT that's very much edited, but I always thought this movie was R.
Nah, I that is never. I don't know how that got past the censors. It's not hidden either. Like it's very obvious, but I don't know. Maybe somebody paid someone off.
Bastards.
I think. I think the score is really cool. It kind of reflects that whole one world thing. There's mixtures of so many different cultures in the score. And I mean, that was neat. That's something I only noticed on this rundown. It works. It flows really well. What are your thoughts on the score?
Unbelievable. Even the subtlety of, Bruce Willis talking on the phone and there's what seems to be like Middle Eastern music happening in the background. Just that, just those little touches, like you're saying, bringing up different cultures, like as it should be. It's just one Earth. Everybody's just kind of appreciating different kinds of things, and seems cool to me.
Yeah, for sure, it's neat. I want to talk about the scene where we are formally introduced to Zorg, where he is selling this gun to the Mangalores, I think. Yeah. And these like warrior race who got this, the stones for him. But that bit is such a great way to introduce this guy as like the premier weapons manufacturer. And his ZF-1 is such a cool compact gun that has it's like a Swiss Army gun. It's got everything. And his accent is so odd. He's like from, Alabama or something. Like, I don't know. It's so hard to place.
Yeah. Is he? And that's maybe something to do with this kind of Earth, right? Where you don't have a direct accent or whatever. It's all these different kinds because you're constantly exposed to different kinds. That's kind of fascinating. It'd be funny if you and I all of a sudden were speaking like we're on Fargo.
You betcha. Yeah, in that bit, we learn, that Zorg is, up to something. He wants the stones. He's going to be a threat. And I love when he leaves the guys the gun and then he walks out and he's like, I don't like warriors. They fight for honor. Honor's never saved a single person. Like just that whole bit about honor. I always love that. It says like he loves a cold-blooded killer. And my favorite line is when he says to the guy, like, a real killer, when he picked up that gun, would have immediately asked about the little red button. And then we see the Mangalores push the button and it blows them all up. Yeah, it's great. This is such an odd movie. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
It's insane. Well, just the simple plot synopsis is like, wait a minute, what are we? If I hadn't seen this movie, I wouldn't really believe you.
I know, right? It's fucking great. It feels like a dream somebody had.
For sure, and that's so much fun. I love some of the films in the 90s that do that. Just kind of take you to a totally different place for an entire 2 hours, because it's usually done in a mini series or TV format now. These kinds of things, these sci-fi things, and I like going away for two solid hours.
Hell yeah, me too. I love the bit where Zorg almost dies choking on a cherry after trying to be a smartass, and he almost kills himself. It's such you never see a villain fuck up like that, like a super villain in any movie. You never see somebody make that big a mistake, like right in front of the hero, and they're just like, Help me.
just trip. Yeah, he trips up. It would be like it'd be like a mega monster, or like like one of the Bond villains, just like tripping over a carpet, a little rug.
Having a Beneke
sorry.
moment.
Yeah. Ted Beneke. Oh, great call.
I always, whenever I stumble on a rug, I'm almost like, oh shit, I almost Beneke'd myself.
Oh man.
Yeah, Zor's just like sitting there choking to death, and the priest is like, so, what? Where's your solution? Like, clearly, all this means nothing if a cherry can just destroy everything. And then he saves him because he's not a monster.
Incredible.
So let's move a little forward to Ruby Rod.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You get a good ways into the film, and then this firecracker character comes to life.
Not just Ruby Rod, but the entire scene on the like airplane shuttle thing is so fucking weird. Every bit of that, I have so many questions. It's the weird like sex scene happening with Ruby Rod and that stewardess. Why all the flight attendants are wearing like the same revealing uniform and like the same haircut. It's the weird reggae guy going, "Give me some heat!" Like, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know, and it's one of my favorite scenes of the movie just because it completely flips it upside down, and I'm like, what is going on? This is what I'm talking about when all of a sudden we're in a Philip K. Dick novel, and you just don't know what's going on. You can't trust anything anymore. Where's the narrative?
It's crazy. I don't know if it's supposed to like represent hypersleep or whatever the fuck. I don't know. It's weird.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but clearly, Ruby is just an extremely original character that I just can't point to anybody else other than Prince himself that this is clearly based a little bit off of. I've never seen anything in a movie like that. It's insane, man. It's insane what Chris Tucker's doing. I applaud just the willingness to even go there.
Well, just to combine this futuristic sci-fi like action movie about the end of the earth and like pure darkness with a talk show host and like an opera singing alien and like weird southern weapons guy Zorg. It's so bonkers any way you slice it. But Chris Tucker in this weird movie of all this weird shit, he is the weirdest part. And like his whole talk show doesn't really make any sense. Like, how long is this talk show? Like, what is it? It's almost like he's podcasting.
For sure. It's like, it's podcasting in the future. Yeah.
I love when he confronts Bruce Willis and is like, "Hey, could you be a little bit more animated?" He just like lifts him up with one hand and is like, "Leave me the fuck alone." One of my favorite parts.
So good. Very Bruce.
Chris Tucker looks so scared.
It was probably real. He probably was scared.
Oh boy. I want to backtrack a little bit because I just wanted to mention this. I love that even 300 years in the future, McDonald's is still doing just burgers and sodas. Like, it's the same shit. Nothing's changed.
Why would it? The Big Mac, it still works. It will always work.
The name of the actor who had the whole McDonald's run in the movie, the guy's name is Mac McDonald.
Oh, that's perfect.
So weird. Let's talk about the diva. So
okay.
That is a kind of gone down as one of the most like kind of the scene of the movie is the diva opera performance and then the fight that happens alongside it. And it is pretty remarkable. It's the actress who played the diva was Luc Besson's girlfriend or fiance at the time, who came in because the original actress dropped out at the last minute. So they painted her up in the blue and then dubbed over an opera singer. Like, pretty cool.
God damn, movie making.
And nobody in the audience, like, that was the first time they heard the opera. So like they really are in awe. Like, that's genuine. They're like a genuine reaction, which is pretty sweet.
Man, that's so cool.
It's beautiful. And the fight is kind of bitching. Like, she's been like looking at Bruce Lee this whole time. She's been learning about Earth culture, and she kicks their asses. Lilu just, mops up. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, Lilu is we've been waiting for that, that moment for her to just kind of pounce, because in the beginning when she kind of escapes, she just gets away, dives out, and off she goes and lands into the cab. But to see her just fucking in combat mode, pretty dope. And Mila is very good at those things. She has the capability to move her body like there's not a lot of actors or actresses period that can move the way she's moving in some of these films in the 90s.
Well, Luc Besson cast her mainly because she had this kind of ethereal quality to her where she could be from anywhere, she could be from any time period. And that really works for the character because you're not really sure what she is from the beginning. I mean, she's destined for something, but you don't know like where she came from, what she's supposed to be. Like, does she have feelings? Does she have, can she, I don't know. It's cool to see her evolution from being grown back in a chamber to saving the world. Like her evolution, she has an awesome arc in this movie.
Oh, for sure. Incredible arc. And so does Bruce, man. His arc is cool as shit too. I think it's totally earned by the end of the film. It's earned between them two. The film does the legwork and has the wacky villain that perishes. So it's like perfect.
Yeah. I am very disappointed. Like that whole bit. Oof. When he sets the bomb up, like just coming in and shooting everything. They never encounter each other, which is so weird. Corbin and Zorg never interact even once. Like, no, I don't even think they know of each other's existence.
Which is so cool. It's so cool to have a film with a quote unquote villain and hero that don't have knowledge of one another.
Although Zorg is the one who fired Corbin.
There you go.
Because earlier in the movie, they're talking about, we wanted to fire some people. And he says, fire 1 million from the cab companies. So Corbin, working for the cab company, gets fired in that scene where the Chinese guy bets lunch.
That's that's the connection. Yeah.
One scene I did want to bring up, because this always made me laugh as a kid, was when the soldiers go to Corbin's house to recruit him for the mission. And he hides them in the fridge because of Lilu, and he's just like shoving them in a fridge, and then opens it like 2 hours later, and they're frozen completely. Like he killed them straight up. But in this universe, they just threw him in a vat and brought him back.
Because it's it's the future.
So weird. This would work really well as a TV show.
Yeah, that's definitely where it would go today if it was written today.
So with that, let's go to the end with the actual ritual, setting up the stones. This was really cool. I love how they did this, where each stone needs to be opened by an element. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, hell yeah. Super dope.
I also found it really interesting that Cornelius, despite being prepped for this his entire life, had no idea what to do. Like, they never told him that part, like the most important part. The actual ritual, they just left that out for 5,000 years.
Fucking terrible villain.
Guarantee you, one of those priests over the course of that 5,000 years, he fucked up, he forgot, and he just kept, it was a big old game of telephone for thousands of years.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, God. So with them all opening the stone, you've got Lilu kind of almost like near death, it feels like. He's kind of in the middle, like, regretful about humanity's choices. And I love that line, what good is protecting life when you see what you do with it. It's a valid point,
Oof.
Mankind's history has never exactly been peaceful.
Man, deep.
Yeah, like, do we deserve to be saved? Not a lot of movies, like not a lot of sci-fi movies deal with that concept. Like, yeah, we can, but do we deserve it?
Yeah. Do we deserve anything, really? Yeah.
It really makes you reflect. It's a deep concept to bring up in the the final bit of the film. But yeah, she's got a point, and I love that Corbin has to basically like assure her, like, Love is worth saving. That's the fifth element. It's love.
Hell yeah, and it's definitely worth fighting for. Yeah.
Ugh, that was that popped like I finally made that connection with a a watch about a year ago, and I was like, holy shit, that's what that's supposed to mean. The fifth element is love. Love is what saves the world. It's beautiful. White light. Like
So good.
It's such a great moment, and you're right, it does feel earned.
Yeah, 100%.
How stressful was that one match? When Corbin has one match left and they're all like trying not to breathe.
Fucking A, man.
Beautiful. And then, like, in the end, it kind of implies that the last time this happened was the moon. Did you make that connection?
Yeah, and I want to see the prequel.
Yeah, like, when did this happen in, like, ancient Egypt? When, 5,000 years prior, when the moon, evil first attacked. So are they just recycling evil from somewhere? Like, is that mankind's evil, like, over the course of 5,000 years, manifest into this darkness? Is that what it is? Is the only way to stop evil to just stop being evil?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like a fucking ice age. It's like we got to reset.
God damn, it is, man. It's a reset, and we never fucking learn. We never learn. Oh, damn.
That's crazy. Yeah. What a crazy film.
Right? Bonkers. So I'm interested to hear your opinion on this. Like, what do you think of the constant phone interactions between Corbin and his mom?
Well, like Ben Affleck says in the DVD commentary of Armageddon, Bruce Willis is a real salt of the earth guy. It makes sense that he has a relationship, with the loved ones.
His mom sounds like such a bitch. Like, to just say, like, you selfish bastard, I never should have pushed you out. Holy shit. I love when she's talking to the president and she's like, no way. Like, the president's an idiot. You don't sound like an idiot.
Yeah. Fucking Debo.
Why is that there? It adds nothing to the movie, but it's just 3 times. It's so weird. And it's not even anybody notable. Like, it's just some actress who that's her only role and it's uncredited. I don't get it. I love that Zorg gets killed by the soldiers that he was arming for honor.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, that's the only way he can go out.
After his little, bitch fit about how much he hates honor, motherfucker gets killed because a Mangalorean wanted an honorable death. I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect. Makes sense, and I'm glad it's not one of the other main characters that kills him. That's a cool way for Zorg to go out.
It's just such an odd. I don't think any other movie's ever done that, where the hero and villain don't even meet each other, like, or know each other.
No, it's extremely clever.
It really is. It subverts your expectations in a smart way, and not a lot of movies can do that. A lot of movies try to do that, but most of them fuck it up.
Yeah.
Bitchin'. Anything else you want to add about The Fifth Element?
No, I think keep nailing it away, that hammering it away, that it's earned. The moments at the end are earned, and Mila and Bruce, I believe what's going on. I think it's really funny when, like, they're gonna need about 5 more minutes. You got 20 seconds. Fucking hilarious. Yeah, this is a fun movie. I stick with. I'll give it an 8. I think it's been an 8 for a long time for me, and I'll keep rewatching it forever.
Yeah, straight up. Now that I finally cracked the code and I'm like, love is the fifth element. That was a big revelation for me, and now I love it even more now because of that.
Hell yes.
So here are some Filmgazm facts. Number 1, the divine language spoken by Lilu was invented by co-writer and director Luc Besson, and further refined by Mila Jovovich, who had little trouble learning and developing it because she is fluent in 4 languages already. The language only had 400 words. He and Mila Jovovich held conversations and wrote letters to each other in the language as practice. By the end of filming, they were both able to have full conversations in this language.
Unbelievable.
I love that they like fluently learned a fake language. That's beautiful.
Dedication.
Number 2, this movie was supposed to be a trilogy. Luc Besson had 3 scripts that he condensed into one movie. And despite the success, he never felt the need to go back.
Good.
That's kind of weird though. Like it's something you've been working on since you were 16. You have so much lore, so much backstory, so so many ideas. You make one movie, it's a huge hit, but you don't go back. That takes, restraint.
Yeah, it takes major restraints. I'm sure he could have made a lot more money, doing a sequel. And I applaud him for just leaving at this one because it's special as a standalone. It's special.
I don't see how you do a sequel with the same characters though, because evil only comes back every 5,000 years. You'd have to do like a even further in the future new character thing. Number 3, Gary Oldman played Zorg as a cross between then presidential candidate Ross Perot and Bugs Bunny. Those were his influences behind Zorg.
Ridiculous.
Number 4, Terry Pratchett, famous fantasy and sci-fi author, spoofed the title in his Discworld novel, The Fifth Elephant. That's cute. I haven't read a lot of Terry Pratchett. I've read Good Omens, and that was very entertaining.
Yeah, reading, unfortunately, I just don't get to do a lot these days.
Yep.
Fucking sucks. But, that's the way life goes. As you get older, you lose the time you once had.
It's a damn shame. I just bought Dune, and I want to read that, but I want to finish Stephen King's Joyland first, but I've been reading that for like a year now. It's not even a long book. It's just time.
Yeah, movies.
Number 5, Alejandro Jodorowsky and Jean Mobius Giraud sued Luc Besson after this movie was released, claiming it had plagiarized their comic The Incal. Girard sued for 13.1 million euros for unfair competition, 9 million euros in damages and interest, and 2 to 5% of the net operating revenues of the movie. Wow, that's some sack.
Jesus.
Jodorowsky sued for 700,000 euros. The case was dismissed in 2004 on the grounds that only tiny fragments of the comic had been used. And get this, also because Giraud had been hired by Besson to work on the movie before the allegations were made.
Good God.
Motherfucker.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. I mean, we've already established that Besson had been working on this since he was 16. So you're going to get hired to work on the movie and then try to act like you were betrayed. Like, fuck you. Ugh.
Jesus.
I just thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Thank you for sharing. Good Lord.
I too give The Fifth Element an 8. It's a great sci-fi adventure. It's a great lesson in character development and world building. And it's a fun movie that I will definitely be, keep revisiting for a very long time.
Yeah, solid 8. And we'll definitely come up whenever we talk about Bruce Willis again, or Gary, or Mila, Chris Tucker. It's in our subconscious always.
Yep. And now it's in our catalog. Yeah. Since we did this film this week in honor of Gary Oldman's likely award-winning performance in Mank, set for release on Netflix Friday, December 4th, we thought we'd close out the show with a Gary Oldman draft. So why don't you explain what that is going to entail?
Yeah. So what we're going to do here is Gary Oldman draft. We've done this before with the years and all kinds of different things. It's a fun way to kind of cap off the show, show some respect to Gary Oldman here. So how many films was it altogether? Because you emailed me a list.
Yeah. And I cut the 3 that you said you hadn't seen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16. We counted the Dark Knight trilogy as one film.
Correct. So we have 16 films that both of us have seen that Gary Oldman has appeared in. And there's some that you love that I haven't seen. There's some that I love that you haven't seen. So that's a good sign. This guy, we will not stop watching his work. So we're going to pick 3 each out of those 16. Again, the Dark Knight trilogy is one whole roll. I'm going to let you take first pick, my man. You take it away whenever you feel like going, and definitely explain why you chose whatever you do first, because I have no idea.
Sure thing. First things first, though, I do want to list out the films for the audience.
List the 16, of course. Yeah.
In order of release, we have Sid and Nancy, Dracula, True Romance, Leon the Professional, Mortal Beloved, The Fifth Element, Air Force One, Hannibal, The Dark Knight Trilogy, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Planet 51, The Book of Eli, Lawless, RoboCop 2014, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and Darkest Hour. So it's a good bunch. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna start this out by snaking Azkaban.
Fuck. Of course, Harry Potter, his Sirius Black is going to be taken. We're big fans, and he's my favorite character of that entire franchise. Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban was when shit started to get real. That was when this stopped being about whimsical, magical children and started becoming about good versus evil. And Gary Oldman's brief turn in that movie as Sirius Black is the perfect blend of manic crazy person and loving Godfather. Because at first you're like, this guy's fucking nuts. But then as we get to know him, we're like, oh no, he's the good guy. And I love that the bait and switch. You don't expect that. The first time you read the book, you see the movie. It makes perfect sense, but you do not see it coming.
Yeah, and what an actor to portray that, right? To be part of that turning point in the entire franchise. It's my favorite movie and book of all Harry Potter. I just think it's wonderful. So good pick. I had that written down, so I'm gonna adjust here, and I'll go ahead and take I'll take the Dark Knight trilogy off the board. I think I had mixed feelings about those films, but I know he's damn good in them the entire way as Gordon. The glasses, the facial hair, he completely transforms into what I already imagine when I think of that character.
Yeah.
And you completely forget where he's from. When you're watching him as Gordon in Gotham, you forget who Gary Oldman is and where the guy is from. So yeah, I'll go ahead and take that one. Man, we took the two big franchise off the board.
There was no way in hell either one of us was walking away with both of those. No way.
All right. Starting off strong with Sirius Black and Gordon. Here we go.
Do you think Jeffrey Wright is going to live up to Oldman's Commissioner Gordon?
Yeah, I do. I actually think Jeffrey will be great. I think it's a cool guy to, pass the torch to. But it's hard to compare when we have three films to look at that Gordon's prominent and he's a big deal, and is probably my favorite. I think he has my favorite performance in Dark Knight Rises. So I'm very attached to what Oldman's doing. So it's going to be tough for Jeffrey, but he's capable.
Right on. What do I want? I want Hannibal.
Okay. I like it.
Mason Verger
Cool.
is such an evil piece of shit. And that's what, that's in a movie with Hannibal Lecter. So that's saying something. And Gary Oldman, it is an uncredited performance due to some behind the scenes issues. But I do think that he is a very strong presence in a movie that a lot of people have kind of set aside because of, the lack of Jodie Foster. But I think if you can get past that, Hannibal is a really decent movie. I mean, it's got some freaky moments like, Ray Liotta eating his own brain. I mean, good Lord.
Good example.
But just like Gary Oldman's voice and like, it's so much like just grimier than a lot of his other characters. There's like this weird turn to his voice. Like he's choking on something. It's so weird.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I love just, get his comeuppance is so fucking perfect. And that was one of my favorites, especially when I found out it was him. I was like, oh, come on. Beautiful.
Incredible. Good pick. I had some, like, I wrote down half of them and definitely took the other half off the table for me. And that was one of the ones I did write down. Very good pick. I'll keep it weird, keep it evil. I'll take 1994 as Leon, the Professional.
Oh.
I think there's an argument to be made that that's Gary Oldman's finest work, depending on how you look at it, and for it to be so early on when people are getting to know him as an actor, it's just a very, very powerful performance. Another movie that could, come up in many ways on our podcast.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? Admittedly, as much as I do love The Fifth Element, I kind of wish we'd done that one.
Well, The Fifth Element is just so wacky, and it felt like a very out of left field kind of thing with Gary Oldman. Oh, you're probably gonna do, yeah, Harry Potter, this or that. No, we're gonna take a weird one. And I'm glad we did. Fifth Element's fun as shit.
True. But Leone, like, he is scary in Leone.
It's yeah, I think it's probably the best I've seen him do. Tinker Tailor, and he has Oscar nominated performances, but Leon, he should have been nominated for that.
Yeah, he should have. There's a lot of his work. Like, by the time he won for Darkest Hour, he should have had like 2.
Yeah, and more nominations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With that, I'm gonna take for my last pick. I'm gonna take Immortal Beloved.
Very nice pick.
I've already kind of expressed, why I love that movie and why I think he's, just lights out in it, playing, every aspect of Beethoven's larger than life character. And, just getting to see a man like that lose love in such a tragic way and then just have it darken his heart. It's a very sad performance. And I don't think that movie gets nearly as much credit as it deserves. I kind of just stumbled onto that one by accident. It was like, why don't more people know about this? Those are the best movies where nobody's ever told you about it. You've never heard of it. You just find it and you're like, this is amazing.
Hell yeah. I love that. And that's again, one of the reasons we love doing this show is just highlighting and spotlighting films that we feel like go under the radar and still go under the radar.
Yeah.
Good pick. Well, that opens up for me to pick my personal favorite. That'd be True Romance. Is it White Boy Tuesday? What he's doing in True Romance alongside Christian Slater is something else. That's all. That's all I'll say. True Romance, love it. We've talked about it before on this show, and our admiration for Tarantino is through the roof. And for a guy like Oldman to take on a Tarantino screenplay is kind of a dream. So him and Dennis Hopper kind of steal that movie for me, and I love what he's doing there. So I'll round out my 3 with that whack ass performance.
Beautiful. I knew you were going to snag that one. Yeah, that is an unreal, like, weird ass role for him, but he does it so well.
Yeah, it was down to that or his Oscar winner in Darkest Hour, and I was like, True Romance is my real favorite. So
I know. I'm wondering if Mank is gonna, knock one of these out for us.
You know me. I think it will. I don't like going into things, with whatever preconceived ideas, but Fincher has been, as far as I'm concerned, for my fandom, has been reliable for almost every single one of his movies, except for one. And I'm very, very much ready for that to come out. I'm a lucky person where that probably would have been the most anticipated movie of the year for me, no matter what. And I knew it was going to come to Netflix, so I feel very grateful that one of my favorite filmmakers is doing that, and to have Oldman in it. I find it hard to believe that I'm gonna finish that movie on Friday and be like, nah, Gary Oldman was okay. I just maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Fincher will slip up, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a masterpiece. I'm excited.
I do too, and I've tried to stay away from reading things and hearing anything about it because I want to be, totally engaged and have no whatever ideas about what's coming. But I am going to do my legwork of watching Citizen Kane. I'll watch Pride of the Yankees, also written by Makowicz. So we'll do our legwork, and then going into that movie, we'll know a little bit more and be prepared. I'm excited.
Hell yeah! So let's what did we have for our draft? I had Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hannibal, and Immortal Beloved. Those are my top 3 picks.
Solid. I've got Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan. Got Leon the Professional and True Romance, some early 90s jams. So Yeah, kind of went with the weird wacko 93 and 94, and then the solid Gordon trilogy. I like it.
Yeah. I went with, a surefire from my childhood,
Yep.
a sadistic psycho, and Beethoven.
That's the thing, right? About Gary Oldman is that you can keep going down the line. Neither of us picked Zorg. There's another one that's just way different than what we're used to. He's consistently changing the game and doing different things with his craft, and that's what we felt like kind of shouting him out a little bit extra here at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we had more picks, I would have maybe grabbed Sid and Nancy. I think he's unbelievable in that movie for like one of his early roles. He really is unreal as Sex Pistols guitarist Sid Vicious.
Yes. I think that's a really good one. That's probably somewhere in my top 5 or 6 in there. That's a good call. I think Tinker Tailor is the one that you'll just be really attached to when you finally see it.
Yeah, I figured. And it will happen. I promise.
And State of Grace. Him and Sean Penn are fucking awesome together.
Killer. So before we announce next week's episode, we've got a very cool announcement for what we've got planned for next year.
Oh yeah.
Starting in January, Filmgazm Productions is launching a new podcast built around the current release calendar and other fun, off-the-wall experimental ideas. It's called The Sneak Preview, and we will be debuting it on Monday, January 4th, with our second annual Gazzy Awards, where we look at the films of 2020 and give our own 2 cents over what films we think deserve praise. We did this last year on the Filmgazm podcast, talked about the films of 2019. Going to do it again in January to debut our new show. Very excited.
Super excited. I could go on and on about what this show's going to be and what kind of opportunities we're going to have to shout out even more kinds of different films, but I'm going to let the episodes do the talking. They'll be coming out weekly. So, and you'll probably be hearing different kinds of, opinions and voices. And I can't wait to take that journey on with you, my man, and keep this train rolling.
Hell yeah. The coolest thing about the sneak preview is that the co-host will pretty much be random the whole time. I'll be leading it, but the second chair will be whoever on the team has also seen the movie or movies of the week and wants to talk about it. Could be Austin, could be Josh, could be Julie, might even be Caleb, or a few others we've got waiting in the wings that we'll be introducing to you sometime next year. It's going to be an incredible, fun way to try new stuff out, like top 10s or recasts or drafts and who knows what. We'll try to cover as many newly released films as we can, but until the COVID crisis is under control and the movie theaters are back to full strength with new studio-backed releases, that may take a while.
Yeah.
We'll be relying mostly on streaming sites, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Shudder, HBO Max, and Apple TV+. But we'll be striving for awesome content every week. So mark your calendars, Monday, January 4th, and every Monday after that.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
Cannot wait. So excited. We've been prepping this one for a while now, wanting to get it right, wanting to talk about like what are we going to do with this? How is it going to look? Where is it going to fit in the week? And we've got enough now where we're just really counting down the days till we can do this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And a movie like Mank is, I want to start it now, so we can do these current films or Nomadland or, whatever it may be. There's been stuff like that. You saw The Banker, On the Rocks, all these different movies that have come out this year that we want to talk about, want to have conversations. And we feel like a new show is the way to do that. It's the way to properly give those their due while at the same time being creative as hell and having fun with it. Be on the lookout for a lot of top 5s, a lot of drafts and fun stuff on that show that's with what's going on currently. So if a Frances McDormand movie is coming out like Nomadland, expect a Frances McDormand draft or Frances McDormand top 5, stuff like that, just to be engaged with what's going on right now, because we know our in the past and we love history and we love doing the Oscar Sunday show and just kind of going down these different roads, the different years. And we love Filmgazm going into these different wacky genres, but we also want to keep up with what's going on in the industry that we love and that we want to know more about. So we're so excited to go on that journey, man. I can't wait.
We put a lot into that. Like we've reinforced the team with more people. We've we're prepping this to be big for us. We really are excited to put a lot of work and effort into making a really cool new show for you guys. We're moving This Week in Film, the Oscar Sunday segment, which have been on all 3 shows at one point. Will be moved to sneak preview, and we'll be able to put a lot more detail into the current movie news world, celebrity deaths, casting, trailers. We'll get to talk way more in depth about all that stuff. And it's just going to be very, very now. And genre will be thrown out the window. It's going to be whatever comes out: drama, comedy, horror, animation, whatever. And it's going to be so much fun to just go everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't fucking wait. I'm so excited for this.
Super exciting. And it's about a month away. So be on the lookout.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We're into the final month of this 12-month long fever dream nightmare that has been 2020. And that means it's time for Christmas movies, but not just any Christmas movies. This is Filmgazm, where we talk about the weird shit. So to start off the Filmgazm podcast Christmas season, I will be back with new guest host Julie Cervantes to dig into the 2015 horror comedy Krampus. When a young boy turns his back on Christmas thanks to his asshole family, Santa's demonic counterpart comes down on his family with a holiday wrath, the likes of which he's never seen. Now Max and his family must fight off the demons of Christmas and stay alive as the evil, sadistic Krampus punishes them all. All that next Wednesday, Citizen Kane and Herman J. Mankiewicz on Oscar Sunday, and an all-new show coming in January. Don't take life for granted. Enjoy the holidays, and I'll see you next Wednesday.